Welcome, and thank you for tuning in to the Brothers Grime podcast. And now, your hosts, Brandon and Randall Witherspoon. Enjoy the show.
The only thing that I have to contribute is this.
What's that? I already know it's going to be funny.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. There can no longer be such thing as a bisexual.
Okay.
I hereby wipe. I hereby wipe the term bisexual completely out of the map.
Okay.
We're replacing it with omnisexual from here on out.
Well, yeah.
And go ahead and get whoever we need to get on the phone, to
Yeah.
approve this change, but that's what's going to have to take place.
Absolutely. Because at this point, we've already jumped the shark in terms of terminology, in terms of options. So why stop at bi?
Well, it can't be bi.
Well, no. You're right. It cannot.
How can it be bi?
I understand now.
How can it be bi?
There's no such thing as there is no binary. It's not binary.
Right.
So you cannot be
would be
binarily sexual.
One state or another state, two states.
There's no longer two states.
No, so it can't be bi. That's
You're
why I
right.
just told you. It's omnisexual.
Well, it took me a second, but I get it now.
There you go.
You know what we have to do now?
What?
Well, print off T-shirt signs that say "Why buy?"
Why buy when you can omni?
That is going to be a T-shirt.
Oh boy, with a big rainbow.
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
I mean that's true.
I'm just trying to help them out.
No, you're right. Actually, it is directly opposing
What they're claiming.
the point that is trying to be made by
The LGBTQ community.
Precisely.
Sorry if we left out any letters. We didn't do that intentionally.
I think it's LGBTQ plus.
Ooh.
Which
Plus
again,
what?
Exactly, plus anything.
Oh. Should be plus plus.
Which again eliminate the buy. Yeah, why buy when you can be on buy? That's perfect. We should make mugs with that on them.
Yeah. Oh, I could think of better things to make than that. We will not get into that right now. If you want to pause it, we can go there.
That's fantastic. I hope to win a GLAAD award out of that.
Yeah. Hey. I mean, I'm trying to remain humble, but it's a good thought,
I'm not
right?
big. I'm shooting for the stars.
You're trying to retire from podcasting after we just now published our first episode?
I'm going for gold here.
Mm-hmm.
Or should I say rainbow? Anyway.
Yeah, whatever. Whatever floats your boat, man.
Exactly. That's a great point. I never realized that.
Yeah.
This is why the LGBTQ plus community
Need someone like me.
needs somebody like you on the board of trustees.
Just to keep them in line, man.
Just to exactly. Just to double check them.
Well, see, they're getting ahead of themselves, man, you know?
Instead of adding more, let's go back and eliminate things we don't need.
Well, no, I mean, it's okay to add more and expand, but you need to, and this goes for anything that you're doing. You can't get too far ahead of yourself. You just start throwing things in there without taking a step back and looking at the overall picture and or what you already have on the table, right? It's like, man.
Exactly. Well, that's when you get redundancy.
Well,
which is what they have.
There's an abundance of that no matter where you look, yeah, but redundancy and just straight up contradictions like I just pointed out, right?
Yeah, redundancy in the title. For instance, even the LGBT, why do you have to say LGBT?
Right.
You could just
I
say
could come up with
omni.
1,000 slogans
Or
right
just
now.
omnisexual. Or whatever you want. Yeah, they're stuck in the Stone Age, man.
Mm-hmm.
Dear LGBTQ
You need to come up with
powers that be.
good acronyms, man.
Get with the present.
And you could even make an acronym out of Omni. I'm not going to do it because I don't want to, and I just can't seem to find my way around that, so I won't. But
Also, that would be a lot of dead silence during the pod while you thought. Oh, Lord. Maybe later. We'll figure it out.
LGBTQ plus,
Yes.
whatever that means.
Again, the plus, I'm assuming, means plus whatever.
Shout out Mark Myers and Bryce Crowley if you're listening. That one was for you.
There you go. I don't know these people, but
Doesn't matter.
I assume that they are
They know you, bro.
decent folks. Well, they'll know me after this cast. That's for
I don't
sure.
know about that Mark guy. Bryce is a good man, though.
Good on you, Bryce.
Anyhow,
But that's a good point, though. You do make a solid point there.
thank you.
Oh, my goodness. Speaking of solid things, solid, stalwart.
Like the stool I had this morning.
Well, I'm happy for you. The vegetarian diet's proving well for you, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, that's very good. Now, speaking of solid, stalwart, unmovable things, I recently have dealt with people being stubborn.
Yeah.
Stubbornness.
There's a lot of stubbornness.
It's
You can find it in yourself if you look down deep enough.
I know I can be quite stubborn as well.
Weed it out if you
anyone.
can.
Everybody can, of course.
Yeah.
But it's not every day that I have to deal with it. But when I do, I'm like, oh, it's just something that kind of gets under my skin sometimes. Like,
And I'm sure you run into many cases of extreme stubbornness.
extreme. I like that word.
That's a good word,
Where's the
man.
extreme?
I don't know what it means.
We'll
whatever
figure that out
means.
later. We'll put that on a T-shirt. Absolutely. In the construction world,
Oh man,
there's
hard-headed.
I mean that's why they're there.
Yeah, exactly.
They didn't want to do their schoolwork. They were too stubborn.
So now they're gonna smash things with hammers all day.
Exactly.
And be mad about it.
And you're not going to tell them what to do.
No, you cannot
what
teach
they
an old
cannot
dog
do
new
either.
tricks, and that is absolutely true.
Absolutely. Well, you know,
It's absolutely false. You can, but it's difficult.
the thing that gets me the most, it's okay if you're stubborn about some things, and you should be, unmovable in certain areas of your life.
Yeah, but that wouldn't really be considered being stubborn, right?
Well, that's true. That's not being stubborn. That's just being, well, I guess you could say having strong values, things of that nature. That's true. Oh, yeah. So just don't,
standing your ground
just
morally.
don't be stubborn.
Right.
Well, don't be stubborn in the face of suggestion. Don't be
It's just being
stubborn.
closed-minded, right?
Don't be stubborn in the face of new
prideful.
ideas, things like that. It could be, yeah. Well, it probably all just stems out of pride, I assume. Stubbornness.
Yes,
well, of
more than
course.
likely.
Well, because basically the definition is what I think is correct and what you think is wrong, and I'm not going to change it.
Yep. It's all about the ego, man.
That's exactly
your
what it is.
ego will destroy you.
Oh yeah.
And it's the craziest thing to think about, man, Egos, how you perceive yourself, how you define yourself, really, and it's all bullshit, man. It really is.
That's true.
It is.
Yeah, because obviously,
It's all in your mind.
yeah, and without even trying to, just subconsciously, you have a view of yourself that is going to be higher than it probably should be, because obviously, well, you've only experienced life through your own eyes,
Right.
and so you only know your thoughts and your everything. So of course, your perception of yourself is going to be, well, I'm a pretty nice guy. I'm a this. I'm a that. Because at least for the most part, you intend to try and do those things. Of course, how you come across to other people is completely different. Like you've been, I'm sure you have, but like you'll be talking to your wife or something and you say something and they're like, what's wrong with you? And you're like, oh,
Right.
I wasn't intending to upset you or offend you,
Sure.
but just the way you say something. So years of that, but also, well, really it stems from like just the self-preservation aspect of
Right.
being a human being, and so naturally you're going to build up these, defenses, these mental defenses against, oh, I'm not a bad guy. I'm not a this, and I'm usually right. And, things like that. And because you have to trust in yourself. Obviously you make decisions every day. You make billions of decisions a day.
Yeah, but trusting yourself and letting your ego, dictate the way that you behave, and letting your ego get in the way are two totally different things,
Well,
in
that's
my
true.
opinion. And, the only real way around that is experiencing a type of ego death,
Mm-hmm.
which I have experienced.
That's good.
And it's quite a life-changing experience. At least it was for me.
I can imagine.
Each time. But yeah, so, I mean, it's like the old saying that I won't quote, but it was something to the effect of, if you want to change something about the world, then, change yourself first or something along those lines, right?
That's really the only thing you can change.
It is the only thing that you have control over, obviously. And if everybody has that mindset, then the world is going to change, right? Because everybody that makes up the world's population will then change.
Exactly.
Is really a pretty rudimentary concept to grasp, I mean, it makes perfect sense, and it's easily attainable.
It's just a matter of
ego getting in the way.
Exactly. If we could
Pride.
If we could somehow broadcast to everybody at once and say, listen,
We're trying right now, man.
that's true. We're trying to reach the masses.
Yeah.
Just exactly. Change the things about yourself that
you don't like.
That you don't like, or that.
But first you have to
negative.
admit that you're doing things that you shouldn't be doing, right?
True.
So like all the things that you could sit and critique somebody else on, oh, I hate the way that he does this. I hate the things that, blah, 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 blah. How about use that as a mirror and take a look at yourself and first of all, assess how many of those things that you are doing. Maybe not in the same way, but, before you sit there and try to criticize somebody else, how about sit there and think on yourself for a minute and take a look at yourself, figure out what it is that, that you're doing that you could change, that maybe isn't right or, good or okay or acceptable.
Yeah, well, the mysterious they also say, or I've heard, that if you are constantly finding a certain character flaw in somebody else, odds are you probably have that flaw yourself, because that's how you're able to recognize it so easily. I don't know if that's true or not, but in my experience,
it could be for some.
It usually is. In a moment of clarity, I think about, or I say something, this person's always acts this way, or, did this thing, and I'm like, wait a second. I kind of do the same thing all the time.
Yeah, I could see that.
So self-reflection is an important thing.
It is, which brings us back to meditation and all those sorts of things that help you reflect on yourself better,
Exactly.
Which are all great things that I would, endorse without a second thought. But yeah, I mean, it all boils down to treat others as you want to be treated,
Oh, of course.
You go around and you love people all day, then you're going to be receiving a whole lot more love at the end of the day than if you didn't, the more love that you project out there, the more you're going to get back in return. You go around hating people all day, you're going to receive hate right back towards you,
Very true, which is why something that could be helpful, that each one of us could implement in our daily lives would be to maybe go out of your way to, speak to at least, say, 5 people, strangers that you bump into on the road or whatever, a day. It doesn't even have to be that many. It could be one person. Right. And, just strike up a conversation, or at least say something positive to that person, and just literally try to spread positivity, around.
Which is no easy feat, I might add,
No, because most people really aren't thinking in that way.
Absolutely
They're not ready to receive.
And so you definitely have to train yourself to behave that way on a daily basis,
Oh, yeah.
Like that becoming second nature, I'm not there yet. I don't know about you.
Oh, no.
I mean, I like to think I'm as close as I can be at this stage in my life, and I like that. And I definitely think about it consciously, throughout the day.
But it's not every day.
No, it's
Something
not.
happens, you get annoyed, you get aggravated, and all of a sudden you just get back into your solitary
just being
state.
a human,
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible, but it's not easy. I'm sure, it does become easier the more and more that you repeat the process, obviously, because it just becomes, a pattern.
Well, something I've started doing a while ago. Well, I started a while ago is, if somebody looks at me and we make eye contact, I just give them a smile, like a smiling eye.
Yeah,
like, hey,
I
how
do
you
the
doing?
same.
And it doesn't have to be verbal. But now for me, it's progressed into, I literally say, hey, how you doing? Or hello, how are you?
Well, it's
You know?
because, it's the natural progression. One thing leads to another. You smile at somebody, they smile back, you say hello, they say, hey, how's it going? So on and so forth. Next thing you know, you're in a full-blown conversation with a complete and total stranger, and you're having a good time, and you're, took their mind off of whatever it was that was troubling them, and now you're just having a casual conversation talking about something else. And that's the way things go, man. And
Exactly.
I love socializing. I love talking, just as much as you do, and I enjoy meeting new people and interacting with different types of people, and that's, to me, is it's one of the best things about waking up every day and going out into the world,
That's
especially being in the DC area, and there's so many people, man. Northern Virginia and DC, I mean, just so many people out there, man. So many different people.
Yep.
You've got a very, very wide variety of cultures and people and different, beliefs and faiths, and you name it, man. It's there, right there, 5 minutes down the road,
Oh yeah,
Yep. From one extreme to the other.
absolutely.
Yep. It's cool. It's cool though. I like, having been exposed to that my whole life.
Absolutely.
Because it's given me a very, it's given me a lot of culture, a lot of whatever I'm trying to say.
It's it's easier to keep from forming biases against certain groups of people, or you see a person, you say, "Oh, that guy looks
because you're not
looks like he
ignorant.
could be a jerk," or whatever.
It's
Instead
because
of
you're educated.
exactly, instead of thinking about that, you say, "Yeah, well, at least I'm going to give him a chance."
For sure.
The benefit of the doubt.
That's part of growing and maturing, definitely as well.
Exactly, and having experienced many times, somebody who looks like they wouldn't be very friendly turning out to be super friendly. So,
Right.
And you never know.
No.
And something else I've been doing is just trying to smile more often, instead of just having a blank stare, or, I don't want to be that person who looks like that wouldn't be approachable.
Which also is much easier to do if you are truly happy inside, right? Internally.
Well, that's true.
So, yeah, it all boils back to the same thing, man, having a positive outlook on life.
It starts with you.
Starts with you. Yep. That's the point I wanted to make. And I'm glad that you agree.
Absolutely. I mean, it's, and then your life and then every day you wake up and you're like, kind of excited to go
Absolutely.
to work, instead of dreading it. And, there's nothing worse than, gosh, I've been there, and I'm sure you have. I know most people probably have.
Yeah.
Getting to the point where you dread going to work every day. Oh, here we go again. Same old,
In some previous jobs I've had, yeah, absolutely.
And you're starting off, you're already starting on the wrong foot, And it's going to be much harder to get to the stage we were talking about if you're starting at negative.
I mean, you definitely have to have the mindset, dude. Just keeps going back to the same thing. Your mind, how you're going to think about what you're going to do that day. You wake up and, hey, man, I'm going to make the best out of this day no matter what gets thrown at me. I'm going to completely just take it and keep on rocking, man. That's the way you got to do it. Otherwise, you're not going to be happy, man.
No, that's true.
I mean, unless you're presented with happy situations all day. But, the first negative thing that comes your way, man, if you're already worried about that when you get up, then you're in trouble, man. You better just stop.
And that being said, you can't rely on, situations to make you happy,
Right.
or your surroundings or circumstances.
Find joy in everything, man.
Exactly.
Because there is always joy to be had, no matter what you're doing, man.
Precisely.
I really do believe that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I feel the same way. I mean, again, it all comes back to you. It's attitude. Obviously, It's all about your attitude, how you're going to be, and it is a choice. Some people. Well, the people who blame circumstances, situations, for why I'm this way or why this,
It's no excuse.
it's not an excuse. And
It's understandable, sure.
And
that
I've
it's your-
been there myself.
If you are in an environment that is completely toxic and you've been there since you were born,
Yeah.
then it's going to be a lot harder for you to have a positive outlook on life, for sure.
Absolutely.
Especially in the midst of that situation, right? But it doesn't mean you can't learn to, right?
Exactly.
And it's certainly not going to do anything for you if you don't. You're not going to improve your happiness if you don't. Obviously, you're not going to. Yeah.
that
If anything, it's
lifestyle-
going to be worse. It's never going to get better.
It will just perpetuate.
Unless you change yourself, it's never going to get any better.
No, and you have to make that conscious decision.
Absolutely.
And make that decision every day.
Yeah.
Just reset every day.
And eventually you won't be thinking about, hey, it won't be a conscious decision anymore. It will just be the way that you are.
Exactly.
Which is the coolest part about it, because that's how your mind works. That's how your brain works, rather.
You train it, and then your mind muscle memory will kick in. And,
Yes, it will.
And you'll just start off at positive every day.
Yeah, all those paths in your brain will be there, man.
Absolutely. That's, and that's kind of why, this is going to sound weird, but I don't mind going to funerals, because it's kind of like a wake-up call it is a wake-up call for us who are still alive. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, that person, they no longer have the chance to impact others.
Right.
But we do.
They don't have any chance for anything.
Yeah, exactly. They're just a memory. And hopefully, they spread positivity themselves. That way you will treasure memories and things like that. Sure. But, it does make you think, and it makes you realize, life obviously is short, of course.
Because you can still definitely have an impact on people long after you are deceased.
Exactly.
Which is cool.
If you chose
if it's a positive influence.
Exactly. Well, you can have a lasting negative impact
you
after you're gone.
absolutely can. That's why I said what I said.
There you go. Yeah,
I accept death just as much as I accept life. It's
people are born, people die.
It is what it is.
Mm-hmm. We all have an expiration date.
I'm not saying that I wouldn't mourn or haven't mourned when a loved one of mine has passed, but I do accept it, for what it is. I'm not afraid of death in the same way that I'm not afraid of life, right?
Right.
Why, seriously.
Yeah,
if you say you're afraid of death, it should sound as crazy to anyone, that you would say you're afraid of life. Because it's the same thing, just in reverse.
Yeah, exactly.
I look forward to seeing the other side.
Yeah,
not that I want to die.
No,
because I don't. I love life, but
exactly.
I'll be anxious to see what's looming on the other side of the veil. There
you go. Also, it is odd when you think about people being afraid of death, because you didn't have a choice to be born.
Correct.
You had nothing to do with your own existence. So just like you had nothing to do with coming in, you got nothing to do with when you go out.
Nope. No control.
All you have is the present.
You do have control.
Yeah, you can make poor
extent.
decisions that lead to your expiration date being bumped up.
Yeah, definitely.
You should try not to do that.
You could definitely check out early if you wanted to.
Indeed. But, just thinking about that, it causes you to, live life in a way that you would want to, because you realize all I have is the present, the here and now, literally, that is it. And every word you say instantly becomes the past again, and you can't take it back.
Right.
you can take it back, but if you said what you said.
The present is the twinkling of an eye. It's gone.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't hold on to the present.
No, it is
because it's already gone.
Exactly, it's ungraspable. One of my favorite quotes from a System of a Down song is, every time I try to go where I really want to be, it's already where I am, because I'm already there.
That is great.
It's one of my favorites. Mm-hmm. Oh, my goodness. But yeah, the present is all we have, so why not make it good? And why not, those words that come out of your mouth that are still ringing in the ears of the person you're talking to, let's make them positive, or at least try. And odds are you'll probably be happier, It's worked for me, at least. Instead of walking around being negative and, why me, why this, why that, who cares? There are things we don't know the answer to. So don't waste too much time overthinking the things you cannot change. And instead, overthink the things you can change. Or maybe don't overthink at all. I tend to overthink.
You can overthink whatever you want. It's a free country.
There you go.
America.
That's the beauty of it, man. Well, we can overthink now, but we'll see what the future
You're
holds.
overthinking this situation right now. Stop it.
I'm a closet. I'm a closet. I'm a closet. I'm a classic overthinker. I was going to say closet
You're
overthinker.
You're a closet overthinker too.
I reckon.
But now you've been exposed.
Yeah, I've exposed
Let's all give him
myself.
a round of applause. He came out of the closet, folks. All right.
You know, that we just keep sticking with the same theme over and over again. Things are circular. We started.
I like round things.
Dude, you know what? My favorite shape is definitely a circle. How about you?
I just said I like round things.
Yeah, you like them, but is it your favorite?
Of course.
I know. I don't know anyone whose favorite shape is not a circle, honestly.
What that
the
is
best
circular don't I love? Is there anything that is a circle that I don't like?
I don't think so.
Snare drum.
Check.
Boob.
Also check.
Most of them.
Well, that's true.
The ones, okay, so well, look, if the boob's circular, then obviously I like it, right?
Oh, there you go. That's a good point as well.
Okay.
I mean,
We'll skip female anatomy and we'll move on to the next.
dude, anyway.
Baseball.
Yeah. Round, spherical objects are cool too. I don't know, but things that are round, I don't
The
know.
Earth's flat, so I can't love it.
Yeah. Forget the
Just
Earth.
kidding.
Forget
Just
everything
kidding.
I said.
I'm not a flat earther.
Forget everything I said
swear
about
to God,
living.
the Earth is fucking round, man.
And if it's not,
Then I'll kill myself.
I'll kill the Earth. Oh, Lord.
Fuck.
I wonder if our minds are round.
Our minds aren't tangible, Randall.
I know, but if I think about it being round, then
Well, it can be
is.
whatever shape you want it to be. Your mind's fucking round if that's what you want. God damn.
Exactly. My mind's definitely round. Oh man, that's fantastic. I don't know. I don't know anyone whose favorite shape would be saying anything other than a circle. Honestly,
I can think of a few guys who like triangles. I can tell you that right now.
Oh, that's true. I completely forgot about the triangle. I'm not sure if anyone's favorite shape is a square, though.
What was that song? Kyle?
Oh, it was Sesame Street.
Let's hear it, man.
So it was Singing with the Stars.
Our youngest brother.
Yeah, so you know how on Sesame Street they often have guests, sometimes musical guests. Usually, they have celebrity guests.
Yeah.
Well, this is like from circa 2008 or something. It was James Blunt.
Oh, yes.
Remember James Blunt? The song "You're Beautiful." He parodied on Sesame Street by saying "My Triangle."
For some unknown reason. I guess it was the shape they were discussing.
Yeah,
and
it was probably
about.
the shape of the day or something. It said
Soothes me to this
my
day.
triangle.
James
my
Blunt.
goodness.
Shout out James Blunt.
Shout out James Blunt.
Right on, man.
He had some. Well, I wouldn't say he was a one-hit wonder. He was maybe like a 3-hit wonder.
He had a cool name, if nothing else.
Yeah, he did. His mind's definitely round.
Oh, no. It's oblong, man.
Yes, it is. Oh, my goodness. Oblong. That's a great shape. Well, that's just a stretched circle. That's all that is.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Hey, there you go.
It's tubular.
His mind is a stretched circle. Oh, my goodness. Anyway.
So I don't know where everybody's at that's listening, probably all over the place, but right here in VA, man, we are approaching spring, and I'm very excited about it for one.
It's the first day of spring as we record this.
Today is the first day of spring, but, technically. However, in reality, it still feels like we're approaching spring because it's still cold outside, and I don't like it. And I can't wait for summer because it's definitely one of my favorite times of year. I love fall, though.
Fall is awesome. And living in a state that does have the distinct seasons is really cool. I enjoy it.
The smell of the leaves.
Oh,
the whole experience.
Oh,
it's campfire
just
season.
about to say
It's
fires.
campfire season.
Oh,
Man.
it's great, man.
Beer, campfires.
Flannels.
Flannels, man.
Beanies.
Beanies.
Yeah.
Boots.
Boots.
You have
And
a great
other
time
articles of
outside in
clothing.
Virginia in the fall. Let me tell you what, man.
Oh, yeah. It's probably the prettiest season in this state,
Lots
anyway.
of beer festivals.
Yeah, that's true.
Lots of fun.
Oh, lots of apple orchards, therefore cider.
For sure. Yeah, this is the apple orchard country right here, man.
Yeah, and actually,
I'm surrounded by them.
I believe Winchester, Virginia, is known as like the apple capital of...
Well, the White House manufacturing plant is located 15 minutes from my house, right in the heart of Winchester.
White House applesauce. There you go.
Nuts, man.
Yeah, there are a lot of apple orchards around here, actually. Well, a lot
That's
of.
all it is.
Well, yeah, it's incredible. It's probably our top export.
Shout out Winchester, VA. Come pick some apples. Have a good time.
Yeah, come to any one of the magnificent orchards that we have to offer here. Cider is incredible.
Yeah.
Not just hard, but any sort of cider.
Cider is fantastic.
Oh, it's
Winchester
so good.
Cider Works. We'll shout them out too.
Shout out Winchester Cider Works.
They definitely have some delicious beverages for sale and for sample. You've been there too, right?
I have been there.
Fantastic.
It
It's
is
an
very
English
cool.
fellow is the cider master there who produces one of a kind to this area anyway. Cider. It's dry. It's subtly sweet.
Not too sweet.
Barely sweet at all. In fact, there's no sugar added or any kind of sweeteners whatsoever. It's the natural, sweetness of the fruit that he's transforming into a cider, and he makes pear cider, apple cider mixed with all kinds of, different things, and just some really good stuff. If you guys are local and you want some good cider, if you don't already know about it, which I would have a hard time believing, then go check out Winchester Cider Works. Great place.
Absolutely.
Not a sponsor, just a fan.
There you go. That's the thing with ciders, at least for me. Well, being a fan of beer and black coffee,
Right.
once you acquire a taste for those two things, in my opinion, you tend to lose your taste for really sweet beverages.
Yeah.
You
do.
Like when you're a kid, obviously, like you want sugar, and you get to a point, and you taste black coffee. Yeah, it's nasty, but once you grow to love it, it's like, at least for me, I drink a lot of water, a lot
you
of
can
black
really
coffee.
appreciate the flavors.
Yeah.
I think we've talked about this before, but it's true.
Yeah, you may have. I mean, and so that being said, when I find a cider that is, because I tend to stray from them because they're too sweet usually.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But Winchester Cider Works, not too sweet, and it's delicious.
And so, completely off topic, if there even was a topic to begin with, something that I find quite interesting to ponder, accents.
Oh, dude, yes. I think about this all the
How freaking
time.
weird are accents,
Dude,
man?
And why?
And why and how?
And how?
Like, who was the first dude to just start talking like that?
And why
Have a great day!
why is it that
The whole fucking look at the fucking thing. Fucking shite! I love shite, by the way. That is the greatest thing ever, man. I worked with this frickin' dude straight from frickin' Ireland. He said shite like 400 times a minute. It was great.
That's fantastic.
It was great. But yeah, accents, man.
Why
So strange.
does geography have anything to do with the way you say words? I mean, obviously now it's because people speak like that in certain areas. So any child growing up now in that area.
Where did it begin?
Exactly.
Why did it begin?
I don't know. I wish I had an
Somebody
answer.
please tweet us right now and tell us why.
If somebody has an answer to this question of accents.
We're way too stupid.
Yes. Oh my goodness. That is something I think about quite often, actually.
But they're funny. They're awesome. I love hearing people with accents talk.
Absolutely.
Just like people that live in other parts of the world are listening to us right now going, oh man, I love their accent.
Love that American
What accent, man?
Yeah, well, that's another thing I've talked about with others is the fact that neither you nor I really have much of an accent, I wouldn't say. I mean, obviously, we have an American accent, if you want to say that, but...
If you even can say that. You know how many different accents there are based on
That's
where you
true.
live in America? Right?
That's true.
But, so here's what I think.
Please.
I don't think that people that think that we have an accent probably don't really pick up on, like, a southern accent versus a northern accent,
Is that possible to not pick up on it?
No, I mean, they might, but it's probably so minuscule to them because they I'm talking about somebody who doesn't, like, speak English fluently,
gotcha.
right? So, like,
Gotcha.
when I meet Hispanic people
Yes.
and they're like, oh, well, he's from Salvador. I'm like, well, how do you know, man? He's like, well,
no,
listen
you're-
to his
okay, no,
accent,
you're right.
I'm like, what accent? I don't even know what he's, so...
You've got a good point
They
there.
probably
yes.
don't even really pick
That's
up
true.
on that too much. I mean, they, if they were to sit there and listen to us, totally analyzing everything that we say, they might be like, oh yeah, he did say that one word, differently than that guy
This
said that
person
word.
sounds
but,
different, but yeah.
that's something you're not going to pick up on if you don't know the language.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
a very great point. Exactly.
Yeah, it's weird, man.
Yeah, it is crazy. And what's interesting is how you can lose your accent too, to some degree. And some people totally.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, depending on what age they moved from point A to point B.
Right.
But I'd have to say, so, I mean, where we live, people tend to have more of a Southern accent.
Yeah, they do.
And because I've been exposed to that my whole life, it doesn't do much for me, and I don't think much of it. But I do really, I have to tell you, my favorite American accent is the New York accent. Anything, if someone has a New York accent, I will laugh at anything they say because they just sound funnier immediately.
Agree,
like everyone from New York sounds like a stand-up comedian to me.
They do, man.
It's
great.
It's just so. I could listen
I feel
to
like a lot of stand-up comedians came from New York.
Well, that's probably why where the association comes from.
They have a lot to laugh at up there, man.
Yeah, I suppose so. But people from the city, oh my goodness, like up north, just make me laugh. Or Boston, also is funny, but it's
funny that like everybody around here talks with like a quote unquote Southern drawl too, because we're like 5 hours from New York City, if that. You know what I mean?
Not to mention we're essentially in the exact middle of the country.
Right.
You know, not longitudinally.
We are mid-Atlantic, man. That's where we are.
Exactly. And, well, to go back to the question of the accent or not, like you and I don't really have much of an accent compared to someone from Queens.
Right. Or the average guy from here where we grew up, you know.
Exactly. And, well, the argument I've always used is if you listen to the news, the national news, they speak like we speak, like we're speaking right now.
Okay, yeah.
They don't have an accent. They don't have a detectable accent.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like there's no specific...
But since they don't talk like somebody from upstate New York or New York City or Wisconsin or Georgia, does that mean they have a Northern Virginia accent?
Well, that's the question I've posed to many people. I don't know. What I always say
Does anyone else talk like us that isn't from Northern Virginia?
Yes.
You sure?
Again, national news. Where are those people from? They could be from all over. And they actually train.
Well, that's where they currently are working.
But they practice to not have an accent, actually.
Weird.
Yeah. They try to actually groom it out of news anchors and things like that.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's
the thing.
Man.
Which, again, proves me right, is in saying we do not have an accent because we speak like people who strive not to have an accent.
But it's all natural, man.
Exactly. I mean, well, that being said, certain words, I say, might come out a little more country than others,
right?
You know, if I'm not thinking about it. But depending on, well, yeah. I mean, and that's the other question. Like, suppose someone from New York City, when they watch the national news, I don't think they're saying they have a weird accent. You know, it's like,
yeah, but do they? Somebody, please enlighten us,
okay,
man.
if you are from anywhere,
we need a New York City resident right now.
Please,
where are you?
Yes,
hit us up on Twitter.
Because
send
we
us a
need
message
answers.
of some sort.
What do you think of the quote accent?
If you're listening to us right now and we sound weird to you, we have a strange accent to you.
Yes.
We want to hear about it. So let's go, man.
Explain it to us.
We'll be looking out for you.
Awesome.
Anyway,
send it out to the Twitterverse.
That's right.
It's a pretty awesome tool. Twitter is.
Oh yeah, it's cool.
You know, and I like it because it forces you to be succinct and get to your point quickly. It's good.
Cut out the fluff and the woo-woo, man.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Short and sweet. Oh, Lord. But anyway, back to the accents. You know, growing up in the country, as we did, and you still reside. Well, we both still reside in the country, actually.
We do. And define country for those who are in New York City that we just called out.
They
don't know what the country is.
It's a place where trees live.
Trees and bears.
Trees and bears.
Squirrels. Deer.
Anything wild.
Fucking deers!
Anything wild, exactly. Where the wild things are. That's what country is.
Live.
And
that's where we was raised.
Exactly. It's a great place to grow up, I will say that. I personally have the desire to live in maybe a little bit more of a metropolis.
Can picture you in the burbs.
In the burbs, possibly, but
a quick jog to the nearest CVS.
I'm good not living amongst the trees. But for
we've had our fill of that.
We've had our fill of that. And long walks. Oh Lord, we could go on for hours about that. So in the country, we have nothing.
Let's back up.
We had nothing to do. You know, it's not like you could go to the store. We didn't have neighbors. We grew up in the woods, basically. So what do? Well, you walk
In said woods.
And you come across
Explore.
You explore, exactly. We used to remember that time when we tried to attempt to, maybe I don't even know if you can remember this, but we attempted to like build a log cabin. Do you kind of remember that?
It wasn't half bad.
Well,
I remember? Of course I remember.
Yeah, we had like some here and then some this way, like at an angle to each other. It was really like a lean-to at best, honestly. But it
was good for like 5 and 3 though. You know?
Yeah, exactly. The fact that we could even pick up any fallen tree at that point was impressive. But anyway, walking amongst the woods and observing nature, that just helps you to derive so much appreciation for the natural world, things that exist. But that had nothing to do with us. Yeah.
Untouched.
Exactly.
By man.
Untouched by man. Exactly.
It's a beautiful thing.
And we were talking about this the other day.
We definitely were.
Things that
could have even been today.
Things that are wild. Things that are not of human origin.
Right.
Are not.
Which is everything but us.
They. Thank you. Thank you for that clarification. But anyway, things that are wild, things that are not of human origin. There's not chaos in the natural world. That's what we were talking about.
Yeah.
A lack of chaos.
We were talking about the natural order of things.
Yes.
We were talking about how everything has a distinct and specific purpose that it serves. And how amazing that is.
Exactly. Vis-a-vis the ecosystem. And
we're not even going to go there because we could talk about that for 3 hours.
Things
now.
of that
but
nature.
Yes, it is amazing. And we were talking about that. Yes, very cool.
It was very cool.
Something to talk about at a later date for sure.
Indeed. So anyway, growing up in the country, we used to go for walks because, again, we had literally nothing better to do.
Yeah, we would explore, places we'd never been before. We would just, hey, man, see that mountain ridge over there? Let's go there today. We've never been there before. Mm-hmm. Okay. And off we went, man.
Exactly.
That's it.
And
Buck knife, back pocket.
That's it.
Beef jerky, front pocket.
Oh, yeah.
That's all you need.
That's all you need. And to this day, that's all you need, really.
Right.
To be happy. But remember that.
Open mind. You need that too.
Oh, and an open mind. That's true. Yeah, exactly.
Sense of adventure, maybe. Yeah, I mean, it's maybe not all you need, but you get the gist of it.
A pocket full of beef jerky and an open mind will get you
it sounds
so
like a
far.
Song that somebody's going to steal from this podcast, man. Freaking Brantley Gilbert's going to write a song about this.
You probably will.
Pocket full of beef jerky and an open mind.
That's it.
And a red sundress. Chew tobacco, spit. Done. 5 million.
And a red Solo cup in there somewhere. But anyway, do you remember that time we discovered that road across from the river, or on the other side of the river, that we saw that there was a road?
The road across the river.
And
I dreamt about it 3 nights ago.
Wow. And the thing is, I never even realized it was there until it was like, again, fall.
Because it was
fall, or at the beginnings of fall. Anyway, somehow.
Remote and never traveled.
Exactly. We had never been there. Certainly. And one day we're walking down to the river and we look across and we see this road untaken by us.
Now we saw the vehicle on the road.
Oh, that's right.
Truck
That's what it
go
was.
by and we're like, what is that truck
We
doing
had
in the
never
woods,
seen it before.
man? And I was like, dude, I think that's a road.
Yeah. And we're like, dude, we have
It's a big river.
Yeah.
It's wide right there.
Oh, it is.
It actually it's
the Shenandoah.
a point. It's the Shenandoah River at a point which the river forks, and it's really, really wide because the two forks go opposite each other for quite some distance, before they around this big massive island, a couple acres probably, and then they join back together. But yeah, it's hard to see, so we saw like the truck go by and the dust kick up, and we're like, dude, that's a road over there. Holy crap. There's a road there. Like, I mean, this is a place, we're probably like 10 years old at the most.
Something like
Not
that.
even 9, 10 years old. And we're like,
At the most, yeah.
we've been going there for 9 or 10 years and to that exact same spot. We never knew there was a road there. So it like blew our minds.
Oh,
Continue.
Yeah. So naturally, we had to figure out what was going on with this road and where it started and where it led.
Across the river we went, man.
So we crossed that river and we jumped on the road and we were like, well, let's just start walking.
Yeah, where does it go, man? What is this road?
And
we didn't have a phone.
No phones. Yeah, this was pre-cell phones. Our mom had no idea where we were. Well, she knew we were walking.
Yeah, she knew we were out.
We were out,
We'd
exactly.
be back around supper time when the dinner bell rang. You know?
There you go. So anyway, we jump on this road. We just take off walking, and it finally meets up to a road that we were familiar with. And so we're like, oh, we know where this road is. We've seen it from town, you know. Like, oh, well, maybe we can just circle.
We must be close to town.
We must be close to town. Yeah, we can
because
circle
we saw
back
the
around.
opposite end of that road in town one time in passing.
So
little did we know it was like 6 miles from frickin' town.
Yes. So 6 miles later, we wound up in town and had to use the phone.
A payphone.
A payphone.
Yeah,
well,
it was a payphone. It was definitely a payphone.
Did we have we had money for a payphone?
No, we called collect.
I forgot about that.
They were pissed about that too. It's $1.50, boy.
You're wasting my hard-earned money.
Oh, because you was out exploring and shit.
Exactly. So we called and we got a ride back, and our mom came and picked us up, and we survived.
After a few lashings.
Well, she wasn't happy, but we did survive. And anyway, I say that to say this.
Didn't we try hitchhiking on the way to town?
Yes, we did.
Because we were so tired of walking.
I just remembered something. It was not fall. It was blazing summer. Heat.
Yeah, you said it was fall?
I thought it was fall.
Oh, no.
And I thought that was why we
Midsummer,
could
dude.
see
No,
the road.
midsummer.
But no, you're right.
No.
It was very hot.
Yeah. I think a tree had fallen from the
Had something
previous
like that.
spring.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All the rain, dead tree, fell over. And then it created a gap in the brush, and you could see the freaking road, and that's where we caught the glimpse of the truck, the dust. Yeah.
There you go.
That's what happened.
Yes. I remember now. It was very hot. And so
Crossing the river was excellent.
Yeah. And
we loved
once
that.
we dried
That
off.
gave us the motivation to keep on trucking.
Yeah, exactly. Right? But once we dried off and reality set in at about mile 3, we were like desperate. So we were trying to hitchhike, and well, it was to no avail. Which, looking back, I'm so glad nobody stopped to pick us up. Two young boys.
There would have been no Brothers Grind podcast.
Most likely not. But anyway, we made it, and we were perfectly fine, thank goodness. But we would often go on walks, like really long walks, just
we just voyage off somewhere.
Oh yeah,
in the unknown, man. We just take off. You'd be like, hey, let's just walk that way until we find something cool. All right.
Yeah.
What do you want to do today? I don't know. Let's just start walking north. All right. Let's go.
That's good. See what we can see.
7.5 hours later, we're somewhere we've never been, and it's interesting and exciting.
The whole way there. Yeah, exactly.
Then we're like, fuck, man, we got to go back.
Yeah, that was always the bummer.
Yeah. Shit. You realize we have to walk 7.5 hours to get back home? Let's just sleep here tonight, man.
Oh, Lord. We also grew up within walking distance of railroad tracks, and we used to walk on the tracks all the time, which we were always told was illegal, and I guess it actually is illegal. I never researched that, but it served as a nice pathway for us because, you know, we got to the point where we were tired of walking the roads because we knew everything, we'd seen everything, so let's just walk the railroad tracks instead. Oh man, you can see such a different perspective from the railroad tracks.
Yeah, it's way cool. And then there was like the exciting, dangerous aspect of like crossing the train trestles, the big bridges that went over the creeks and the rivers, and they were freaked out, man. They were hella sketch too, because those things had like, at least a foot frickin' gap in between the trusses that went across those tracks, man. Oh, and like, I mean, if you, like, we were so small, we could have literally slipped right through and fell to our death many times.
Oh, yeah.
So you had to like, and it was always in the summertime when we're doing this kind of crap, and they're like all slippery and frickin', because they're like oozing, creosol or whatever that stuff is.
Yeah.
Is that what it is, man? It's like that weird stuff that they treat the railroad trestles with to keep them from rotting. And it's causes cancer and every,
No, of course. I'm not surprised by that, but I've never heard
else.
that.
But yeah. So yeah, but you remember though,
of course,
the stuff that was seeping up out of the wood beams. Yeah. So it was like pretty freaking dangerous.
We could have easily plummeted to our doom at any time.
Oh yeah.
But we did not.
Or a train could have come barreling down the tracks at any point in time.
Especially while we're on the trestle. Oh my goodness. We were crazy, but we had fun. And that is why I encourage everybody to walk. Walk more. You never know what you're going to see. Especially, well, obviously if you go to a place you've never been, but just take a walk in the woods sometime in a time other than winter, or even in winter. Because
we've hiked many a times in the winter, dead of winter with snow-covered ground, and it is very beautiful.
Absolutely. Sure. The wilderness of Virginia.
Yeah.
That's where we spent most of our time.
Yeah, it was great.
It was very awesome. So I like to visit the woods and visit the country and whatnot. But that being said, I would rather not live amongst the trees anymore.
Yeah. Well, becoming an adult and having responsibilities, and you have to be close to things.
Yes.
Because you need things, right? All the time.
True.
So it's like, if you have kids, the school's, right down the road. Or if you live in the country, the school's freaking half an hour away. Everything's at least 30 minutes away if you live out in the middle of nowhere, like where we grew up, and it's like, man, it's just like a chore to go pick up a freaking loaf of bread and a gallon of milk, it's like, man. Not only that, but, it's like you have to deal with inclement weather up here, a lot of snow and that kind of stuff, and the roads are the last to be treated and the last to be plowed, and, you end up getting stranded out there. Power goes out. Nobody gives a damn until like 3 days later, it's like, I mean, how many days was I in a hotel just recently, a month ago?
Like a whole week.
Yeah, I was like hotel bound for a week, man, without power. It was nuts. But yeah, man. So I don't know. It's a cool place to grow up. There's a lot of, it's a place I like to be, Sure. I like to go be out in the country, and I don't like to be disturbed when I want to have peaceful time to myself and that kind of stuff, and enjoy nature and, relax and everything like that. But practically it's hard to justify living out that far, when you have a family and when you're busy and when you have a lot of stuff to do that involves being, in town or wherever. But anyway.
Yes, if I could gallivant around the wilderness, it'd be carefree.
Oh yeah, we'd have done the Appalachian Trail from start to finish at least 4 or 5 times by now, right?
Yeah. Oh man, that's crazy.
Which I would still love to do.
It would be awesome.
Yeah.
But I heard it can be dangerous, so I would recommend the buddy system.
Oh,
I wouldn't travel it by myself.
I would.
Well, yeah, okay. I'm sure you would.
Well, I'm sure that you're sure that I would.
Yeah, I don't know.
I would prefer to do it in tandem.
For sanity.
Absolutely, right. Yeah. I would get bored, but yeah, no, I think it would be awesome, man. I that's something I've always wanted to do, man. The Appalachian Trail is quite the trek, and it's physically challenging and mentally challenging, regardless of if you're in pairs or groups or solo or whatever. Man, it's a tough thing to do, especially if you like set a hard deadline, like, I'm going to complete the Appalachian Trail journey in this amount of time, I'm going to arrive in, Georgia at this time exactly, and you're pushing yourself, then yeah. Now, if you're like not working or have all the time in the world, then yeah, man, it would be just cool. Just take your time and
leisure.
And like, the gateway to the Blue Ridge Mountains is Front Royal, Virginia, as they claim, and that's pretty much where we grew up and everything, right around that area. The Skyline Drive, the Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah River. It's a really hot. It's a total hot spot for like tourists and people that like the outdoors and camping and fishing and hiking and all that kind of stuff. So naturally, we were all about that kind of stuff and still love it, But yeah, we got exposed to a lot of that, and we met a lot of people that would, be in the middle of the Appalachian Trail, halfway up the East Coast in Virginia, and they would like peel off the trail and come down into town. Like literally you just walk off the trail and find their way into town and like get a hotel for like a night or two just to take a shower for the first time in like 6 months. I mean, it was insane, man. And like have an actual meal, and stuff like that. And we would meet them and talk to them, and Christ, they stunk. But it was really cool to meet people like that and hear their stories, and all the cool little things along the way, like, notes that they passed to each other for encouragement and just cool shit, man, it's definitely something I've always dug and wish I had the time to do, you know. Maybe one day I will. Maybe one day we will. Be great, man.
There
Be
you
super
go.
cool. Start a GoFundMe for you and I to do the Appalachian Trail.
Hey, there you go. The Brothers Grime
We'll document the whole thing.
in the
man.
wild.
We'll podcast out there.
Exactly. Live stream from the woods. Oh, Lord. Yeah, it's a great area, honestly, you know, and that being said, I do enjoy traveling, and I do like checking out cool places. And,
Well, yeah, it goes right alongside our, you know.
well, we love to explore.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
We are adventurers to the end, for sure.
Indeed.
So I would like to introduce a word to you,
Yes.
and I'll do so by spelling it out.
Okay.
Capital J, lowercase E-E-T. Would you go ahead and sound that out and speak it for me?
Jeet.
That is correct, my friend. And so for all of you out there listening, we're going to go ahead and translate a Appalachian American term. Jeet, jeet, jeet.
That's new to me, man. I do not even know what
So translated
anything
to
about this.
modern English is did you eat?
Jeet.
Jeet yet? Jeet yet? Did you eat yet? Jeet yet? See how I do that right there?
There you go.
Yeah, that's a product of growing up in Appalachia.
See, had you put the question mark at the end, I may have been
No,
more
I couldn't
inclined
give
to
it
get-
away.
Yeah, you're right. Jeet. Yeah, that's exactly right.
It was great. Yeah, I was watching like a documentary on like Popcorn Sutton, who was like this famous moonshiner, you know, and people like that, you know, that grew up in this area in the Appalachian Mountains and just total hillbillies or whatever you want to call them, you know. And it was so funny. There was this guy on there, and he's talking about how they literally had their own language separate from anyone else in the state. You know, like mountain language, right? So like he said, yeah, man, somebody would just come up with a word and he'd be like, what? Yeah, I said a blah, 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 you know? And he'd be like, well, what does that mean? He'd be like, oh, well, it means this. And he'd be like, oh, I ain't never learned that word before, you know? And so he would just start saying it, and then somebody else would hear him saying it, and it would spread like a freaking virus. And next thing you know, that's something that everyone in the entire town or area says. And they just did that all the time.
That's how you form a new language.
Yeah, and so there's all this slang that people don't even, mountain slang that nobody knows about, man, that, you know, that hangs around, and it's tripped out, man. It's so weird. Back to languages again, that just drives me crazy, man.
It is.
It's wild to think about, man.
Yeah, slang. I mean, that's a whole other
Well, I'm not even-
subgenre.
yeah, I mean, yeah, it is.
It's amazing how much of the English that you and I speak is so different from the English of 50 years ago, 100 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously beyond that. It's really incredible.
It's interesting how language transforms in that way.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's tripped out, man.
Yeah, exactly. So along the line, there had to be somebody who just started saying something new.
Well, that's exactly
I
how it
guess.
happens.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
I guess, right?
Yeah.
Somebody says something, whether it be by accident or they just decide they want to start calling something else, you know?
Yeah.
And then somebody else hears it and they're like, oh, well, that's cool. Or, you know, they either think it's cool or they are embarrassed that they didn't know what that meant. So they humble themselves and ask, hey, what does that mean? And then next thing you know, he passes it on to the next guy, and it's just, it's how it happens, I guess. I don't know.
Exactly how it happens.
I guess, man. Because, I mean, it still happens, right? Obviously.
Oh, yeah.
There's words added to the dictionary all the time.
Absolutely.
You know.
The Urban Dictionary.
Yeah, well, the Urban Dictionary. Whatever.
That's a
Whatever.
subculture.
Whatever the fuck that means. Hey, if you made it this far, thanks so much for tuning in. We really hope you enjoyed the show.
Stay grimy.